Mr. Cox, what's going on?
What up, bruh? How you doing?
All right, man. We're back for another episode. What's this, episode 22?
Episode 22.
All
We're
right, all
episode
right, man.
22. We got over 3,000 views and about 47 or 50 subscribers, something like that.
Yeah, good. All right, we rolling slowly but surely.
Yeah, yeah. Just keep trying to put product out there and make sure that we get people to sign in and stuff.
Yeah, definitely, man. We gotta keep putting good content out there, man, and get people to subscribe and also going checking us out on social media. We always post clips, and then we send you to Facebook. I'm sorry, to YouTube to see the full episode. So if you're on social media, it's at Gents Making Sense or at Gents MS, and you can see our.
Sorry for the typo down there. That should be MS and not MA.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So it's at Gents MS. So at Gents Making Sense on both Twitter, Spoutable, and then you can see our full episodes on YouTube. But we got a good show tonight, man. Good stuff. A lot of things going on in the world, specifically here. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk a little bit about the DNC convention, some takeaways. We also gonna talk a little bit about the back and forth with the debate with everything that's going on with that, and then we're gonna close it out with a good show.
Yeah. Tony? Okay, so I'm gonna give y'all a little background, like we try to do. We're gonna talk about the. I saw this piece from NPR. They talked about the 6 takeaways from the Democratic convention, and that's something we want to talk about. We're gonna ask some questions and try to get some answers and see what do our community, the Black community, get out of this convention that was, by all accounts, a love fest. Really, I enjoyed it. I think I told y'all it was the first time I ever looked at the complete roll call of states and everything.
Right. Yep.
And Georgia was all the way turned up. So. Okay, so we're gonna do this little listening thing now.
Democratic National Convention here in Chicago notably featured a number of Republicans in high-profile speaking slots. NPR's Sarah McCammon has been following the outreach attempts of Democrats to get through to Republicans and independents. She joins us now at studios we're borrowing this week at WBEZ, our member station here. Sarah, good to be with you.
Good to be here, too. Hi, Scott.
Republicans were front and center at the convention, which seems noteworthy. What stood out from their speeches?
Yeah, their message was pretty simple. They portrayed former President Trump as a threat to democracy and tried to make the case to their fellow Republicans who were not in the convention hall to support Harris, even if they don't agree with her on everything. So Stephanie Grisham was a former White House press secretary and an aide to then First Lady Melania Trump. When Grisham spoke on Tuesday, she described herself as a former true believer and a close friend of the Trump family. But she said that what she saw when the cameras were off, as she put it, and ultimately on January 6th, changed that.
Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers. On a hospital visit one time when people were dying in the ICU, he was mad that the cameras were not watching him. He has no empathy, no morals, and no fidelity to the truth.
Now, Grisham was one of several Republicans featured on stage at the convention, including former Congressman Adam Kinzinger and another former White House official, Olivia Troy. Troy said that as both a national security expert and as a Latina, she found working in the Trump White House terrifying. And from everyone, the overarching message to Republicans was that by voting for Harris and Walz, they'd be voting not primarily for a Democrat, but for democracy.
Sarah, do we have any sense of how effective these arguments might be in reaching voters who consider themselves Republicans or conservative-leaning?
Well, throughout this campaign, we've been reporting on the fact that a lot of voters across the spectrum were not happy with their choices when that choice was Trump or President Biden. Harris's entry into the race, of course, has reshuffled the campaign, and Democrats hope to win over some of those undecideds or unhappy voters. Probably the biggest name on the lineup this week was Oprah Winfrey. She addressed the convention on Wednesday night, and Oprah made a big point of the fact that she is a registered independent, and she said she votes for her values.
So I'm calling on all you independents and all you undecideds. You know this is true. You know I'm telling you the truth, that values and character matter most of all.
And overall, the tone of this convention has really tacked to the center. There was a big emphasis on unity and freedom and the idea that you can have different beliefs in a democracy. Now, I've been covering efforts by Harris supporters to win over voters who've supported Trump in the past. And one thing I've heard is that while they'd like those voters to cast a ballot for Harris, there is value even in persuading them just not to vote for Trump again.
What about what I'll now call Donald Trump's Republican Party? What has been the official reaction they've registered to the DNC?
So Republicans were holding daily briefings in Chicago to try to counter the DNC. Trump has been on the campaign trail talking about some familiar themes like the border and immigration. And he's been trying to paint Harris as extreme, reaching all the way back to the Soviet era, using labels like Comrade Kamala. So it seems like Republicans are still trying to adjust their message to the new reality. Just one example, Democrats have made abortion a big issue in this election. And in a post on Truth Social yesterday, Trump claimed that, quote, my administration will be great for women and their reproductive rights. Of course, that could be a tough case for Trump to make when he has also bragged about being largely the reason that Roe v. Wade was overturned.
Sir, what's the possible effect of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announcing yesterday that he's kind of suspending his campaign and endorsing Donald Trump?
Right. So RFK Jr. made this unusual announcement that he's essentially pulling out of the race in battleground states and endorsing Trump. He will still be on the ballot in some states and wants his supporters to vote for him, but not in places where it could hurt Trump. Now, the Trump and Harris campaigns have been disagreeing a bit about who this helps and who it hurts. Some polls suggest RFK being in the race might have hurt Trump slightly, so this may be good for Trump. But in reality, Scott, RFK Jr. had struggled to gain traction with this campaign and had been losing support in the polls. So this may not be a big group of people or a big impact.
By the time he withdrew or suspended his campaign yesterday, he was down to single digits.
That's right.
Polls, as opposed to the almost 20% that he
at one point, right.
Well, NPR Sarah McCammon, thanks so much for speaking with us. Good to be here in WBEZ studios, isn't it?
There we go.
Good video, good video, good recording.
Yeah, that's a good breakdown of what happened last week. Well, at the DNC and what Trump and the Republicans were trying to do to counter all that energy, which was I just couldn't see him countering that at all. So we'll get right into it. One of the questions I had was, Republicans endorsing the VP. At the beginning of that recording, NPR talked about the many Republicans that were there to speak, not because they were changing over to the Democratic Party, but they were Republicans that were concerned about the country, and they did not want to see other Republicans that were concerned about the country continue to vote for Donald Trump. So they were making a push for them to vote for Kamala Harris. So do you think that these endorsements and Republicans speaking at convention will it make a difference in the campaign? What'd you think?
Well, I got a different take. I'll just be perfectly honest. I don't care. I could care less if a Republican comes up there and says they're going to vote for Kamala Harris. They should have been aboard a long time ago. Most of these guys that stood up there and said, "Oh, well, this is about the country, and I'm more of a patriot than I am a party person." These are the same people that allowed Trump to do everything that he did for 4 years. A couple of them worked in his administration. They went right along with everything that Trump was doing. So, I mean, miss me with this, I should be happy because a few of the Republicans decided to come over to the right side. I'm encouraged that they are finally seeing things the way that we have seen things and seeing Trump for what he really is. But I'm not thanking him. No, you should have been aboard here bless you. You should have been aboard, 4 years ago. Do I think it's going to make a difference? No. I think that the Republicans out there that want to save this country and our democracy are going to vote Democrat regardless of who stands up on the DNC stage and ask them to. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Now there are some Republicans like Adam Kinzinger,
right,
a couple of other that's been ever since January 6th, the insurrection. They've been down and they haven't changed their tone. One person that was noticeably missing was Cheney. Yes, Cheney has been really she really was on Donald Trump's case for the most part, but since the campaigns have gone into full blast, haven't heard much from her. So would like to hear what she got going on and what she think about everything that's going on. She's been really quiet, and the quietness is deafening, really.
Yeah. Adam Kinzinger, I like him because he, like you said, from the very beginning, he was against it. Liz Cheney, I've never really had any major issue against her. She's a solid Republican. We have differences. I think I could sit down at the table and have a conversation with Liz Cheney about our differences and walk away from that meeting saying, I don't agree with her, but I respect her opinion. Adam is the same way. But some of these guys that got up there that were part of his administration, that stood out there and lied for him, like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to sit here and say that you're a hero because you finally came around to doing what's right. You're jumping on the train 3/4 into the trip because you see where the train's going, which is that he's going to lose. So now you want to get on the bandwagon to say, I was against him. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I think that was a good move by the and by the way, I think the whole Democratic National Convention was well choreographed, and the young Democratic National Chairman, come on, help me with his name.
Come on,
Jamie, from South Carolina. Something we're going to talk about in a few minutes, the up-and-coming young Democrats. We're loaded. Loaded. And we'll talk about that later because I got some things I want to say about that. But the whole thing was well choreographed. So it started out with that, and I think that was a big thing that we had to do. And then at Tuesday night, we moved into the Obamas and Oprah. The Obama and Oprah effect. What kind of effect do you think these three elegant speakers had on the convention and the people that are looking at the convention that didn't come? You got any ideas about that?
Yeah, I do, man. And I love former President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. I mean, as she said, they are, two highly educated, hardworking Black people. And they represent the large percentage of who Black people are. They've had their hands tied for years, not being able to respond to some of the silliness that comes from some of these Republicans and Donald Trump. And DNC allowed them to fight back. And they said what was really on their mind, and I appreciate that. They pretty much said what Black people in this country have been saying for a very long time. So I thought it helped a lot. Everybody, all Democrats for the most part, love President Obama, former President Obama. He's eloquent, knows how to speak. And Michelle Obama is, the best example of what a first lady should be. What I'm more concerned about is Melania Trump stealing her speech and going to give her speech to somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was very impressed with them. I expected them to be exactly the way they are. I thought it was a positive for the convention.
Yeah. And Oprah, the communicator that she is. What you think about Oprah?
Yeah, I mean, I got a kind of a love-hate relationship with Oprah, man. I mean, I thought she did excellent at the convention. I can't say anything negative about her speech. I thought it was positive. But I'm not really sure, I'm not really sure what she was trying to get across by saying she's an independent. I mean, really? I mean, come on, Oprah. Really? An independent? Why are you an independent?
Yeah.
I mean, everything Oprah shows about, everything that Oprah puts on her TV station, everything that she does in her life, for the most part, are democratic ideas and democratic policies. And for you to get up there and say you're independent, I don't understand what that was about. But whatever she needs to do to keep the money flowing in, it's fine. What do you think?
Yeah, I same thing. It kind of caught me off guard when she said she was an independent, because I've always thought she was a Democrat, because I've never really heard her speak up for a Republican before. But if she wants to be a independent, then let her be an independent.
Sure, yeah.
Long as she's on, and she says she votes her values. I think more Democrats and Republicans should vote their values. If people voted their values, you wouldn't have people like Donald Trump out there. So, I'll take that back, because.
Well, here's the thing. But here's the thing with me: Democrats always vote their values.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about the base of the Democratic Party is black people. Black folks always vote the lesser of the evils. We understand that we're not going to get the perfect candidate for us. We know that. So we say, what is the best that we can get out of this candidate? We've done that for over 100 years.
Yeah.
I mean, 100 years. We've done that for over 50 years. Where we voted for people who don't always have all of our interests in mind, but the majority of them is the white people and the conservatives that vote strictly down party line every single time, who don't think about the best policies for them economically, who don't think about the best policy for them socially. They vote because the person is white and because they're Republican. Go ahead.
Exactly. And Michelle Obama said it best when she spoke. She said, "Don't let the perfect deal stand in the way of a good deal."
Bingo.
So, we're not going to have a perfect candidate. We're just not.
Nope.
So you got to get the candidate that more closely aligns with your morals and values. So I think that was a big one from there. And I think that former President Obama, had a hard time following his wife, because she was on point. She had some things that she had to get out.
Get off her chest, boy.
Yeah, they when they go low, we go high. Didn't work.
She said, "The hell with that."
Yeah, she went to where she wanted to go. She finally said what she had to say. And you got to, when a man has terrorized your family, pretty much. And that's what it was, terrorizing the family, making her husband and her family seem like they were other than, or less than, or aliens in their own countries,
Yep.
So I just think that I think it was time for her to do that, and she did a great job of it. But Barack Obama did exactly what he needed to do: break down policies and have people understand what Kamala Harris stood for and what he believes she can do for the country. So all in all, I think it was a good look for them. And I think that, once again, the programming was great, because it came from and the one thing we haven't said Joe Biden's name the whole thing, and he was on the first night, and I think he was gracious. I think he did what he had to do, and then we went to San Diego and went on vacation, which he should have did, because he definitely needs a vacation.
Look, Joe Biden will be known as the president that defeated Trump, to save the country from that idiot. And he'll be known as the guy who picked country over himself.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't want to leave the thing. He felt he could have beat Trump again and been president.
Yeah.
But he left because the country is more important. So he'll go down as a president that made the right choice for his country over himself. So I appreciate that about him.
Yeah, and people like Republicans in particular, well, he went kicking and screaming. Wouldn't you'll go kicking and screaming if you believed in something, but you believe in it so much that you could see the handwriting on the wall. And I think that's what the final thing was. He could see the handwriting on the wall, that it wasn't good for the country for him to keep going on. And then that brought us to the next 2 or 3 nights where we had the up and coming young Dems, who Dems that came on stage and did their thing. Some were good speakers, and some just explained things. And I enjoyed it. I really did. The one question I got for you: who's your pick for the next superstar? Superstar.
I mean, I think there's quite a few of them up there. I mean, almost all of the young ones that came up there are up.
I'll give you some names, and then you can kind of tell me what you think. Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett, I think, is a new one. I don't know if I see her in the White House, but I do see her as a very successful senator.
Yeah.
In leadership in House of Representatives as well in the Senate.
Yeah, and these people I don't think will necessarily become, go that high. I just think that they'll be our thought leaders. The Black community thought leaders. They will guide how we think for the next 10 to 20 years. And most of them are is it millenniums and Gen Zs, I think.
Yeah, millennials and Gen Zs. Yeah. No, I like her. I like I think that I think that AOC is up and coming as well.
There you go.
And see, what I always try to say to people, man, when you're talking about New York politicians, everybody thinks New York politicians are different. Yeah. New York politicians always start out as firebirds.
Yeah.
All of them do, whether they're representatives or senators. New York senators are always the loud, the more aggressive senators, but they always calm down and move themselves up the chain. And that's what AOC's on. She is not the same AOC that she was 3 years ago.
No.
She's different. She's becoming more policy. That's becoming a strength of her to talk about policies. She's becoming more well-spoken. She is on the rise. I see her as potentially being a senator from New York as well.
Yeah, see, they can't paint her no more as a left-wing nut. know, they can't paint her in that corner anymore. And like you say, she speaks very well. And and she was a bartender. 3-4 years ago, she was a bartender. So Americans can trust normal people that got everyday job to go to Washington, D.C. and be spokespeople for them. You don't have to be a lawyer, a doctor, a billionaire, or a millionaire to be able to go to D.C. and represent us. So she shows that. So we got AOC and Jasmine Crockett. One that brought my kind of raised my eyes was Maxwell Frost out of Florida, young man out of Florida. Real well spoken. He talked about the Hispanic community down in Florida, which is a big constituency of his. I think that he's gonna be a superstar too. Florida, some kind of way, are gonna have to wrestle the state-ran capital legislative away from the Republicans, because people don't even want to go to Florida vacation no more, hardly, because they've made it so crazy down there. And
but see, that's how you change it.
Yeah.
Yes, you change it by voting, but voting is every 2 years, every 4 years. The way you change and you get them to change is in their pockets. And I think that's the one civil rights lesson that we need to learn, is that these guys are only doing what they're doing is because they can still do what they do.
Yeah.
If we take it away from it, you think that if Disney started losing the amount of business that Disney makes, right now people go to Florida. They're only going to go to Florida because they're going to Disney.
Right.
I actually know people. I'm one of the people. I will not go to Florida unless I'm just going to Orlando or to Disney.
You got it.
I won't put a dime in Florida unless I'm going there. But if Disney starts losing money, people stop going to Disney because they don't want to be in Florida. They will change their policies. And that's how you change. That's how you get the DeSantis out of there and you get the legislative out of there, is because companies that are in Florida that are losing money start going to them saying, look, these policies are killing us.
Right, right.
So that's go ahead.
We saw the senior citizens that for Kamala Harris out in their golf carts and stuff.
Yep.
That normally is a red part of the state, so I'm interested to see what the count's going to be. I doubt very seriously if the Democrats can win Florida this year, but I'm guessing the count is going to be a whole lot better for them.
I think so too. I don't think we're going to win Florida, but I do believe the Democrats are going to win some representative seats, and I think the Democrats are going to start at the local level, starting to win a little bit more.
Yeah,
I
just don't see them. The Cubans are going to keep the Republicans in power for a little while because Cubans are just not going to vote for Democrats. They're just not going to do it. They're just not going to do it.
Well, the Cubans are no different than anybody else. I keep telling people, man, it's not about policy. What it's about is what I can get from myself and keep from other people. The only reason the Cubans vote for Republicans is because Republicans allow Cubans to come to this country that's different than everybody else. They don't have to go through the same policy as the Mexicans or people coming from the southern border. Cubans can come over here illegally, get into our country, and because they're here, they get automatic citizenship. So as long as that policy is in place, they're going to continue to vote for people who give them the benefit.
Exactly. And I think the last one we'll move on, but not the least of them, is the one that almost got selected as vice president, Josh Shapiro. Josh Shapiro would probably rise higher than any of them. And when Kamala Harris and them win, Shapiro will probably be her first choice for Attorney General, which I think he will turn down because he don't want to. He
should turn down. I think
he don't want to get pigeonholed in her administration, because I can see him running against her after 4 years. He said he wouldn't. Now he said he wouldn't at the convention. He said his whole goal is to help them win office this year, and then if they decide to win again, to stay in office for 8 years. Because
here's what I see Shapiro. I don't know. I think Shapiro should wait. I think Kamala Harris, if she wins, she'll run again to 2028.
Yeah.
In my opinion, in 2032, the ticket should be Gavin Newsom and Shapiro.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's what needs to happen. Is that he just needs to wait.
Now, I can see Gavin Newsom willingly leaving, because I think he's going to be term limited anyway. I think Gavin Newsom has been the governor for this. I think this is his second term. So I don't know if he can run another term. So I can see him joining the administration at some kind of, he might be a senior advisor or something like that, but I can see him joining. So needless to say, what we're saying is that they have a strong bench and they can keep going forever if they want to. Something that go ahead.
I said you didn't mention Maryland's governor. You didn't mention Bashir out of Kentucky. Yeah, I mean we got
it's so many.
So many. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we would have to be here for a whole show to go down and do the rundown and say the wonderful things they're doing here. Because Maryland's governor is, I haven't seen anybody with the kind of energy and the kind of spirit that he's had in a long time. Right. It looks like he wake up every morning and say, "Bring it to me. What we got?"
He's a soldier, man. He's a soldier.
Yeah. It looks like he just wake up every morning and say, "Bring it to me. What do I need to tackle today? We're gonna tackle it." you know, and he's one of those guys that he is the governor for everybody. You see him, his social media is crazy. Is crazy because it's like, do this man have two people? Because he's all over the state, you know. So I'm looking forward to these young guys coming up and doing what they're supposed to do and everything. Yep. So next subject we want to go to the debate. So now we're having a debate about the debate. So it's been really crazy since Joe Biden dropped out, and I'm quite sure that we will have debate on September the 10th in some form or fashion. I don't think we'll have another one after that. I don't think Kamala Harris wants another one after that. I think she think that debates, the prepping of the getting ready for a debate and debate takes too much of her time, that she could be out talking to the people. That's my opinion. So how important do you think the debate is coming up in September 10th?
I don't think it's important. I don't really think it's that important, because I think anybody out there that is being honest understands that the smarter of the two is Vice President Harris. The person who has the better grasp on the topics is Vice President Harris. Right. We know that Donald Trump is going to lie. We know that he's going to try to be disrespectful. So I think that, I don't know other than one debate, just to show the contrast between the both of them is important. So do the one on the 10th, wipe the floor with them, which she's going to do, and then move on and go and talk to the American people for the next 2 months.
Exactly. That's what I think it'll wind up being, because you perfectly went into the next question, and we can continue with that. Finally, will it happen, and what will it be like? You just explained exactly what I was thinking that it would be like and everything. So I think we're good there. And I just want to say that whether the mic is muted or not, whether the mic is muted or not, I don't think it'll matter at all. I get why the Democrats wanted the mics unmuted, but whether they're muted or not, I don't think it matters at all. So
no, it doesn't matter, and it's all a game. Donald Trump's too stupid to realize what they're doing. What they're doing is they're distracting him. They're basically now he's focused on not saying something that's going to get him in trouble, instead of focusing on trying to appeal to the people he wants to vote for. He's going to go into that debate worried about what he says, because the Harris campaign put it out there. But typically, like Republicans, what they do is when they're like a lawyer. If you don't have the facts on your side, then you just get on the table and start complaining. And that's what Donald Trump did. He knows that he's going to lose it. He knows he can't beat her in debate. So now let's move the goalposts and start complaining to the referee about the process.
And that's the thing that kills me so much, man, is they complain about her not doing press conferences and stuff. Well, the things that thing that they call a press conference that Donald Trump do like every other day, they're not press conferences. They're lying conferences.
Sure.
He just used it to lie every day.
Sure.
And talk nonsense. He said out of his mouth on national TV, in a recording, said that if Jesus Christ was counting the votes in California, he would win by a big deal, by a big margin. Mm-hmm. California, man. Come on, man. I don't think that. Yeah.
But see, to me, the press conference thing is funny, because that's not Trump. That's the media. That's the mainstream media. And the reason that they are trying to put pressure on her to do that is because the mainstream media is not in the business of reporting news anymore. It's a reality show. Every news station in the United States is a reality show. But they don't have content, because Kamala Harris goes and takes it to the people. So they don't have content. What they want to do is they want her to sit down so that they can bring on these so-called experts to try to nitpick everything she says, so that they'll have content to put on their reality show every evening. That's what it's about. It has nothing to do with her coming on and talking about policy, because she's talked about policy for the last 30 something days.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's all.
They're not looking for content, like you say. They're looking for snafus. They're looking for bloopers. They're looking to trip her up, get them to say something that they can carry for a whole week, you know.
And watch what happens. So she's interviewing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Watch what happens over the next 10 days up to the debate. Watch what happens on the news. Every single night you'll see people on there talking about her interview on CNN. And they'll be nitpicking what she says, and they'll be bringing on these experts and say, "Oh, well, we did all the economics on it, and that's not going to work." Or how do you get that done? And if she doesn't have a Senate, how do you get that passed? That's what you'll hear for the next week up to the debate.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
So it's not that they want to hear her policies. Nobody want to hear policies really, because truth be told, whatever presidential candidate says they're gonna do, they can't do it without a Congress or a Senate.
Right.
They can't do it. Now they can do executive actions and stuff, but executive actions are not permanent, and normally they don't go very well over a long period of time. So when they say, "Well, this is what I'm going to do on day one," all of them, Democrats and Republicans, you can't do it.
Right.
You can't do it, you know. And Donald Trump with his policy, this is his policy. This is his policy. Get this. On day one, I will make sure that food prices go down and gas prices go down.
Right.
That's his policy.
Yeah.
How are you going to do it? He don't tell you how he going to do it. He just say on day one, it's going to go down like magic. All of a sudden, prices going to go down because he's president. Now, I do believe that the stock market moves and gyrates at whatever he says. When he was president, he used to come up, get up in the morning and say stuff in the morning just to move the stock market, I believe, you know. So,
but I would say to people though, man, I mean, people need to read. I mean, I'm in the stock market. I have investments.
Yeah.
And I could tell you that over a 10-year period, the stock market is doing exactly what it has done over the last 80 years, every decade.
Yeah. Exactly.
Regardless of who's president. Yeah, there are times when the market is down substantially. Just like 2 weeks ago, the market took a crazy hit. Well, you know what? Today, the market has made that back up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You know, so I mean, and then, you know, people complain about, you know, Kamala Harris saying, well, you know, we're going to work on food prices. So my thing is, why are people worried about that? Stores and businesses have already said that they raised the prices higher. They've already said that. They just had a guy from Kroger's, and Kroger's pretty much owns almost all the grocery stores in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
This dude just testified. One of their CEOs testified that they raised the prices of eggs, milk, bread, toilet paper super high to make money. He testified to that.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got people on TV that are saying, well, why is she doing this? Why is the president getting involved in capitalism? Because they're cheating the people.
They are.
Yeah. She also talks about the housing. We know that investment firms have been buying up houses across the United States, apartments, complexes, and raising the rent. We know they've been doing that. Yeah. And she's saying we need to regulate that.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I said, I'm sorry, one last thing. I think I said to you and Bake one time we were on here, because I was reading about it. I think it's about 6 months ago or 9 months ago. There were stories out there were basically saying that the reason we don't have any inventory in the United States for houses and stuff is because these firms are buying them up because they want to turn the United States into Europe, where there aren't any houses, that everybody lives in condominiums and apartments.
Right.
Where the investment firms can make money.
Right. Okay.
So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, that's it. That's a good conversation. That's good to know too. So so what we're gonna do now is I think that was a good conversation. We got everything in we need to get in. Just gonna put a blast out there for next week. Yeah, we're gonna do something fun next week. We're gonna try to do something fun next week. We're gonna talk about fantasy football, something that you and I and about 10 other guys know about that we've been doing for almost 20 years, you know. So we're gonna talk a little bit about. We're gonna try to talk a little bit about that next week. We're gonna go on a lighter subject and everything next week.
Yeah. Well, before we go, can I bring up one more thing before we get off?
Yeah, go ahead.
And this happened, and this is the Donald Trump down at Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
And I just wanted to say something. I really hope that people see this, man. Is that one thing that I'm really, really getting? First of all, Donald Trump is a clown, and we all know that. But what I'm really getting tired of is people like these families that think just because you had someone in your family that lost their life in the military, that you're better than somebody else, and that you should be able to go down to Arlington National Cemetery, which doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to you, and it doesn't belong to your loved one that was murdered or that was killed in war. It belongs to the American people, and that's our way of honoring our troops that gave their life. You don't get the opportunity to go down there and say, I want Trump to stand on top of somebody's grave and do a public announcement. You don't get to do that. There are regulations, there are policies, there are rules with Arlington National Cemetery. Not everybody gets to be buried there. Everybody whose loved one has died in the military would love to be buried at Arlington National Cemetery. But there are rules and regulations you have to go through in order to do that. Yeah. So my point is that Trump is a clown, but I'm tired of these families who think that just because I want someone to come down and help honor my person, that you should be able to break the rules. I'm just tired of it. Anyway, go ahead.
That's great. I'm glad you brought it up because I was talking to one of my friends about it today. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this with no disrespect, but those 3 or 4 Blue Star family knew exactly what they were doing.
Yep.
They knew exactly what they were doing. It was dishonorable.
Yep.
It was dishonorable. There's nothing honorable about you having your loved one getting killed in the line of duty. And if it was Joe Biden's fault and his administration's fault, think about how many people, how many service members have been killed in the line of duty.
That's what you said
in all these years. You signed up, your loved one signed up for it. They knew this could happen.
You do what the president tells you to do.
Exactly. And what's so bad about it, this whole withdrawal plan was Donald Trump.
Right.
And we might not have executed it right, but that happens. That happens. Yeah. And just because you got a running beef with the president, the current president, it don't give you, like you said, the right to invite a former president to come down and lay a wreath and to have all his cronies and photographers and cameramen that come and videotape it. And just think about the buffoonery that went on with the families and Donald Trump standing in front of the grave taking pictures with thumbs up.
Over top of a grave, man. And in Section 60.
That's buffoonery.
And in Section 60. That's my point. Is that most people don't even understand what Section 60 is.
They don't. And it's hollow ground, and they made a mockery of it.
They made a mockery of it, man. And then the Arlington National Cemetery people were trying to stop you and tell you not to do it, and you push through them. And then you disrespect them.
And call them names, say they were retarded and everything else, you know. It's ridiculous. I'm glad you brought that up. I appreciate that, man, because I'd glossed through that. So great, good job, man.
It was disrespectful, man. And I don't know if you saw, I put something online about it. I was like, shame on that family. And I will say it, I'll say it on this show. Shame on that family. You should.
It was 4 of them. Let's get all 4 of them in there. It was 4 families, from what I'm told.
Yeah, shame on all those families for doing that. You can be a Trump supporter and you can vote for him, but shame on you for disrespecting that cemetery.
Don't use your dead service member as a pawn for it.
Exactly.
You
So
don't
yeah, I
do
just
it.
wanted to say that, man. And I really wish that there were more military people that would stand up and say it was shameful. And that military people start telling these Gold Star families and all these people to stop using politics when it comes to your deceased service member.
Right.
I'm proud of them because they wore the same uniform as I did, but you should stop using that as a hammer for your politics.
And the last thing with that is just think how much of a pretzel they done turned themselves in. Because just a couple weeks ago, Donald Trump said that he didn't like he thought that the medal of freedom was better than the medal of honor because the people that get the medal of honor are usually dead or gravely injured.
Exactly.
So, what do you think a Gold Star family represent? A dead service member. So he just disrespected your loved one, and now you giving him a photo op in front of your loved one's grave. You have to be twisted. You got to be very flexible to be twisted like that, just to be seen with a former president that is as disgusting as he is. He's disgusting. He really is.
Well, and my thing is, I mean, why? Again, is what I always say about conservatives and Republicans. It's always moving the goalposts.
Yeah.
Okay, we've had wars in this country since our existence, and presidents have made decisions where troops were either worked or didn't work. Some general or admiral came up with a plan and either worked or didn't work. How many families lost people in Vietnam?
Exactly.
How many families lost men and women in World War II, World War I, based upon either inaccurate plans or inaccurate decisions that the president of the United States made? And you're going to blame your son or your daughter's death on the president? I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous.
There's 10 layers of leadership that made the decision for whatever reason to do what you did to have your service member pass away. It's just silly. It's politics. And I'll say it again, shame on those families, shame on those families, shame on those families.
And the leadership, they live a tumultuous life by knowing that their orders are going to send men and women
to their deaths.
You know, when I was a first sergeant, we were playing war games and stuff, and it got kind of crazy sometimes. I had a young man that died in my unit playing soccer, had a heart attack and stuff, man. It was one of the worst days of my life, because I had, and the crazy thing about it, he was from Scotland. Mm-hmm. He was a naturalized citizen, but his family was still living in Scotland. I had to wait to the wee hours of the morning to call Scotland and inform them that their son and daughter had passed away,
Well, yeah, I mean, I was in the battle group. The battle group in the first Iraq War, where where Bush was talking about, that it was going to be, hit them like they've never been hit before. That was my battle group. That was my battle group was the first one to fire missiles into Iraq, and we all knew every plane that left that ship had bombs on it. They were going to drop on somebody that was going to kill people. We knew
they may not come back.
Exactly.
They may not come back.
Right. So, do you blame us because we're the one who launched it? We were the ones that were in the play. It was us. It was us pushing the buttons to launch cruise missiles. Do you blame us? I mean, come on. It's just silly.
Yeah. So
anyway,
we got off on a little off track, but it's well deserved and something that had to be talked about. So anyway, like I said, next week we're gonna try to make it a little bit light. We're gonna talk about fantasy football and all the gyrations we go through with family football. Until then,
do it now, or I'll hunt you down. Smash like. Do
it. There you go.
Yeah, that's sweet. I like that. Make sure you subscribe, man. We good to go. We're gonna keep doing this. Man.
Make sure you tell everybody to subscribe. It costs you nothing. It costs you absolutely nothing. It all you have to do is hit that subscribe button, and it helps us out and it will continue. We're gonna continue regardless, but it will help us get better content and everything else, so it really was great talking to y'all tonight. It was great seeing you again, Suleiman. Until the next time we go, I'll get on out of here tonight.
Well, man.
Okay, talk to you later, bro.
See you.